Yeah, Fayen's tutorials on Twitch on YouTube are really good, and so are Liquid Fire's. Alright, let's see if we can find these moose at their resting zones. We should now be at the beginning of their resting times, so hopefully we'll be able to catch those 3 herds fairly quickly. I just don't know which of their zones are often and which are rare, so we might be going to the wrong zone for starters. Because I only did that check for the drinking zones, not for the resting zones. But doesn't those higher bars represent the mean fitness spawns for that habitat? Yes, that is basically the mean fitness for the habitat. But that only means that those are the most likely ones. There's still a chance of a lower spawn, it's just less likely than the mean fitness. And again, that calculation is made for every single animal that spawns. Okay, so the moose are there. We have an adult female. Ma'am, where's your husband? He's gotta be around here somewhere, right? Oh, there he is, to the left. To the left, to the left. 2-star mature. 2-star mature, okay, so that means last time, when we saw him last year, he was a 2-star adult. Now he is a 2-star mature. That means, let me double check how long these moose live. They have 5 years in maturity. He's now in his first year as a mature, so he has 4 years left. Actually, no, it's not day 4, it's day 5. No, actually. He has 4 years left. So that means 12 days from day 4. Which means we need to check him on day 16. We can now happily ignore this one until day 16. Then we need to check on him. Okay, he has this need zone over here and this need zone over here, so we can ignore that. And we can move on to our next moose. This game deserves more viewership. It's so much more strategic than the other game, which I have over 500 hours on, but have not played since I got Way of the Hunter on Steam on sale on Steam. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it does require a lot more patience than Call of the Wild. So I fully understand why some players are a bit intimidated with Way of the Hunter. And sometimes I see people, especially on Discord, discussing like, oh, the game is like too casual, the game is not it's not challenging enough. And then I look at the Steam reviews and half of them complain about how people can't find the animals or can't find the blood tracks or whatever, and I'm like, I think the game is plenty hard. You guys are just too good at hunting. I'm sorry. I think there are two games that fill two different niches. Call of the Wild, and I was going to say Call of the Hunter. Call of the Wild and Way of the Hunter. Call of the Wild is basically where you want to go if you want a massive back catalog of stuff because the game's been out for years, and you want like a quick hunting experience. You don't want it too challenging, and you don't want to have to worry too much about how your actions are going to affect the herds in the long run. Then Call of the Wild is just fine. Thanks for the follow. Way of the Hunter is more like you want to work on a map for a long time. You want to put in the work. You want to be strategic. You want to have your patience rewarded. You want a more methodical hunting experience. And again, those are just two different approaches to hunting games, and both have their merits. Okay, I think this is close enough to where we put down the marker that it might actually be the same group. I mean, to be honest, the herd management single-handedly puts this game on an absolutely different scale. Yeah. The herd management is great, but I do also like that if you don't want to bother with that, you can just make a private multiplayer lobby and just blast away. Okay, that's a 2-star adult. The question is this the one that I was actually looking for? Like, is this the group that I was hoping to find? The only way to know is to actually go over there. Oh, those were roe deer. Okay. Even more reason to play this game. What map would you rate as the best? Nez Perce Valley, hands down. Nez Perce Valley will always have a special place in my heart. It's got a nice variation of landscapes. It's got some really nice looking points of interest. It's got a nice variety of animals. None of the areas are too easy or too challenging to hunt. In my opinion, they have a really nice balance. And yeah, it also helps that it's the first map, so everything is new on that map. Whereas by the time I got to Aurora Shores, Selma, which is your favorite, by the time I got to Aurora Shores, I had been hunting Nez Perce Valley for 150 hours. And then I got to Aurora Shores and I was like, huh, some of these areas look like Nez Perce Valley Light. And I already know half of these animals. For if somebody only does the tutorial Nez Perce Valley and then switches to Aurora and goes, wow, this is my favorite map ever, I'll be like, okay, I can totally see that happening. But for me, Nez Perce Valley will always be number one. Sorry, which one? I missed that. I was just streaming Aurora Shores. My favorite is Nez Perce Valley. Yeah, the first one. Aurora Shores is, I find that Aurora Shores is very popular with on Reddit, and it's also very popular with people who are more casual players. Okay, this is definitely the one that we were looking for. This is one that we had seen before, but only on day 1. So now it's day 5. They've got a 2-star adult. Perfect. Now we just need to find one more group, which is these guys. Either here or here. I do hope that they are here, because that's going to be a lot easier to get to. Aurora Shores seems a bit empty. Aurora Shores, I mean, every map has this thing happening where there are certain parts that feel very densely populated and certain parts that feel like there's not much going on at all. And it also depends on what time you hunt. I know a lot of people only hunt at drinking times. And I know I'm guilty of that as well when I'm specifically looking for a 5-star or doing an animal census or something. But usually when I'm doing story missions, I'm hunting whenever. I'm hunting whenever there is the time. So then it's usually okay, because then you also find the animals in the field, in the forest, etc. On the Discord, Fayen reckons Transylvania. I think we did a poll once, but I don't remember what exactly the results of that poll were. I do know a lot of people on Discord are really like hardcore hunters who do ranger with everything off and then minimal hut and all those things. And they really love Transylvania. Personally, I think Transylvania is a bit too tough for my taste. And also it's the map that's visually the closest to the area where I live. So it's like, if I want that, I can just go outside into a forest and, you know, hike for an hour or two. So Transylvania usually ends up fairly low in my map ranking. And to be clear, they are all good maps. They are all good maps. It's just some of them I personally find more engaging than others. And my second favorite after Nez Perce is Tickamoon, because it's just so visually different from everything else. And it has almost all completely exclusive animals. Lucky Lani living in a place like Trans. They should have a London map. It's full of animals. I'm a Londoner. London map. That would be something. Alright. I don't think we have a moose here, but we're gonna walk over there just to grab the need zone anyways. Scottish Highlands would make a great map too. I always say my absolute favorite, which is probably never going to happen because I don't know what the hunting restrictions are, but from what I understand they are quite strict. My absolute favorite would be a South American map with jungle biome. Similar to like, if any of you have ever played Ghost Recon Wildlands, that game has one of the most beautiful maps ever. And if I had that as a hunting map, I'd be absolutely thrilled. Okay, yeah, resting rarely. Ouch. That means we gotta go down there. And hope that the moose is still there, because we're already half an hour into the time. But yeah, the top two for me are always Nez Perce Valley, then Tickamoon, and then number 3 is usually Matariki Park, because it's also very visually distinct from everything else, and it has some really nice exclusive animals. And then the rest of them, Transylvania, Lintokoto, and Aurora Shores, it really depends on when you ask me. Like, they switch places very frequently. Absolutely, a map of pumas, pronghorns, and some other species I don't know of. But yeah, I know that a lot of people are waiting for a snow map. I think that is probably the most requested type of map that we have. Snow maps. Which I've been wanting to check out Medved on Call of the Wild for a while now, but I'm way too busy with a bunch of other things. Australia could be cool to do some alligator and roo hunting. Yeah, that would be pretty unique. Alright, let's hope this moose is at this need zone still, so that we can finish our moose checks, and then I can show you guys where we're actually standing on this, and how many moose we have to check in on every day. Or every year, I should say. Yep, that's a fox. You can spook. I no longer... Well, I will probably need you for a mission soon. I think the next main mission that we're going to get is hunting 3 foxes with a shotgun, if I'm not mistaken. This game survives only if content is being developed and they listen to their customers. I think that goes for every game. But also, this is another point where I show my age, but I'm kind of tired of this modern sentiment of a dead game. because when I was young, shakes my fist at the clouds, when I was young, like, there was no live service. The games came out, and then you played them, and you were either happy with them or you weren't. And that was it. I remember when we first started having DLCs for download or on discs. And people were like, whoa, this is great. I've got more of this game and I don't need to wait like 2 years to get it. This is cool. But, and that's fine, you know, I like DLCs, it's great, but somehow a lot of gamers these days have this idea that if a game doesn't pump out new content like every 2 or 3 months for 6 years after it launches, it's a dead game. It's like, no, it's not a dead game. A lot of the time it's just a finished game. You know, it's a finished product. It was given to you with all the tools that you need in order to play the game and with enough content to keep you busy for hours. And then, if it sold well, then maybe some additional content was being made, but sooner or later, maybe the team wants to move on to other things. Or maybe something else was already in the pipeline. Or maybe the sales are not coming in anymore and it's no longer profitable to stick with the project. Like, there's a bunch of things that can happen, but sooner or later the support will end. And that doesn't mean the game is dead, it just means it's finished. Now, obviously, if there are still things, like massive things that don't work as intended, then that is a problem. But it's especially, it especially gnaws on me when you get this with like single-player story-based games, where people are like, where's the extra content, man? This game is dead. And I'm like, you do understand this is a single-player story-focused experience, right? Like, the game isn't dead. The game is finished. The game is done. I hope you enjoyed your time with it. I mean, hundreds of hours are dead game numbers, maybe to some people, not for me, though. Exactly. I mean, there is actually a launch FAQ for Way of the Hunter. Now I really wonder where these moose are. Where are their eating zones? Oh god, their eating zones are also super far apart. Ugh. We had a launch FAQ for Way of the Hunter, where the devs were very upfront about the fact that this game was designed for 150 hours. Now, the times that I grew up in, the idea that a game would keep you occupied for 150 hours, or would have content, like varied content for 150 hours, would have been nuts. So I think 150 hours for $40 is absolutely worth the money. And everything that comes additional to that is, as far as I'm concerned, just, you know, an additional bonus, but not something that I would expect out of a product. But again, that's maybe where I'm showing my age with my philosophy about gaming. But I just think a lot of people are setting themselves up for disappointment these days. All right. We're gonna have to look for them at their eating zones because they have already left their resting zones. It is 14:02. It is 1 hour after their resting time, after the start of their resting time, and they have already left their resting zones because this is where the resting zone is. This is where the eating zones are. So they have left already. They are done. which means we gotta go to those eating zones and find them there. That would be 5 p.m. Let's go. Do you have to do all the missions in story mode? What does that give you? If you do all the missions, it depends on the map. On Nez Perce Valley, obviously you unlock the comic book story, so if you want to complete that, you have to complete the missions. Other than that, you don't get any in-game reward for completing the missions on Nez Perce Valley. You just get a lot of money from the missions, which is why I always recommend people play the missions. You get fairly easy money and you get lots of it, which is really great when you're starting out and you still have to buy all your equipment. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm drowning in money in this game. You do that until you start taxidermying moose or red deer or any other tier 6 animal in a full body mount, because those are like $6,000, $8,000 per mount. And then you will suddenly see where your money is going. In Aurora Shores, if you finish the main missions, you get the Apex crossbow, which is the best crossbow in the game. In Tickermoon Plains, you don't get anything special for finishing the missions, the main missions, but you do get a fairly underpowered bow for the for completing the cabin missions. I can actually show you guys because we have it here. I mean, we didn't buy it, but we have unlocked it. So this is the one you get at the end of Alaska. Tier 1 through 6, best crossbow in the game. And this is the tier 1 through 4 bow with the flu arrows that you get for completing all of the cabin missions in Tickermoon. On Matariki, you don't get anything special for finishing the missions. In Lintokoto, if you do your choices right, if you make the right choices, you get a engraved shotgun. And before anybody panics, it's a very easy choice. If you have paid any attention at all to the game messaging about ethical hunting, you will be okay. I use the crossbow a lot, the bear one. I'm not a big fan of crossbows for the simple reason that they reload so slowly. Same for bows. The reload is just so slow. And it basically means that if your first shot misses, you're done. There is no follow-up, there is no correcting your arrows, it's just either you do it on the first shot or you don't do it at all. Whereas with a shotgun, at least you can place a follow-up shot immediately. Wispy's shotgun, I unlocked it, but I haven't used it yet. Yeah, it's basically a Holden Jack, but with a different skin. Same as the Cinnamonski, which we are using a lot. Like the Cinnamonski is a Holden Jack, but with engravings that are different. So yeah. Most of my shots are successful first try. Yeah, most of mine too, but occasionally I just do have like those moments when the animal turns at the wrong time or something like that. And you'll be really grateful to have that second shot. And if you have a crossbow, you don't. You can just do free hunt and not worry about missions, but for me personally, I finished every story on every map except Transylvania because it doesn't have a story. And I was so satisfied with it. Yeah. I mean, this entire walkthrough that I'm doing right now, the entire purpose of this walkthrough is to do all of the story missions and also to impart as much knowledge about the game as I can while I'm doing that. And to show people how I personally go about it to get the missions done. Show people how to use Nekero's toolbox, which amazing tool. I wouldn't want to miss it anymore. Like, it has honestly helped so much, even if it's not always 100% accurate. I think this is going to be the rare eating zone, isn't it? Just my kind of luck, I assume. This is almost certainly not the moose we're looking for. Yeah, eating rarely. That's what I thought. Let's go down here.